Now Bob is fully aware his life is in danger. So much so that he hires a security detail to guard his home 24/7.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 celeb death conspiracy theories.
You know, somebody out there knows something, and I just wish I could know.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most fascinating conspiracy theories that have been put forth about the deaths of famous celebrities, even if they are, in fact, still alive. Do you believe any of these? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, John Lennon. The world stopped and grieved on the night of December 8, 1980, when it learned that John Lennon had died.
Lennon was shot and killed at about 11 o'clock last night outside his apartment building.
After returning home following a recording session, Lennon was infamously shot in the back by Mark David Chapman. It's a pretty clear-cut and readily accepted story. Regardless, it has resulted in a few conspiracy theories. Some believe that Chapman was a patsy, used and brainwashed by the CIA, which wished to assassinate Lennon due to his outspoken left-wing ideals.
Chapman started talking about a little person inside of him and a big person inside of him. The big person has been winning the battle up to now, but tonight the little person won.
Others think Chapman is totally innocent, including author Salvador Astruccia, who argues that forensic evidence absolves Chapman of the crime. In any case, Lennon won't be the only Beatle on this list.
The statements he made, the music he made, it's going around the world.
Number 19, Sam Cooke. Often called the King of Soul, Sam Cooke was popular in the late 50s and early 60s. But on December 11, 1964, Cooke was shot and killed by a motel manager.
Sam Cooke, one of the most talented singers and music producers of his generation, is shot in a shabby motel.
Allegedly, Cooke took a woman named Elisa Boyer to the motel and assaulted her. She then escaped, and Cooke violently confronted the motel manager, who shot Cooke in self-defense. Cooke's family and friends reject this version of events, however, and have put forth various theories.
He was not a violent guy. I never saw him get angry.
Some believe that Cooke was violently attacked by several people, with singer Etta James stating that his body had suffered horrific, unexplained injuries. Others claimed that Cooke's manager, Alan Klein, might have even had him killed. So far, neither of these theories have been corroborated.
This was really troubling to the black community. Did he really make a silly mistake, wrong place, the wrong time in a seedy motel? Was he set up? I don't know. Number 18, Bobby Fuller. This rock singer found top 10 success with a cover of the Crickets' I Fought the Law. The single was released in late 1965.
They were four country boys from El Paso, but everyone knew it was Bobby's band. He was the star.
On the following July 18th, Fuller was found dead inside a parked car, and the medical examiner tentatively blamed gasoline vapors for his death. Fuller's death is officially labeled a fatal accident. However, various far-reaching conspiracy theories have been put forward by people who don't buy it. Fuller's bandmate Jim Reese believed that Charles Manson had something to do with it, despite being in prison at the time, and others suspect that Fuller was killed due to personal connections with the mafia. It's likely that we'll never know.
We want to know who did it and why.
Number 17, Avril Lavigne. Let's just clarify that Avril Lavigne is not dead. The 2000s pop icon is alive and thriving, but not according to some. A few fans are adamant that the Avril Lavigne we see today is actually a woman named Melissa Vandella.
The conspiracy goes like this, that Avril died and was replaced by an Avril lookalike.
According to the conspiracy, the real Lavigne passed away after the release of her debut album Let Go. But the record company didn't want to stop the gravy train, so she was replaced with a body double to fool the public and continue her musical legacy. The main evidence surrounding the conspiracy is Lavigne's changing physical appearance, supposed subliminal messages in later songs, and the word Melissa written on her hand in a photo shoot. As expected, Lavigne has continuously denied the conspiracy.
Yeah, some people think that I'm not the real me, which is so weird. Like, why would they even think that?
Number 16, Tupac Shakur. On September 7, 1996, hip-hop icon Tupac Shakur was shot in a Las Vegas drive-by. He died 6 days later.
Unrolled the window, arm came out, opened fire, and just went rat-a-tat-tat.
2 Crips gang members were named in an affidavit, including Dwayne Davis, who later said that his nephew Orlando Anderson was the shooter. However, countless conspiracy theories exist in regards to Tupac's death and even survival. Some believe that the shooting was ordered by either music executive Suge Knight or the Notorious B.I.G.
Things eventually went south in the middle of the decade when the two rappers got embroiled in an epic East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry.
Others believe that Tupac is actually alive and faked his death and moved to Cuba. And, as is often the case with conspiracy theories, some believe that the CIA is involved. Regardless, Tupac's death may forever remain contentious.
There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Suge Knight knew immediately who was behind the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Number 15, Steve Jobs. The famous co-founder and CEO of Apple passed away on October 5, 2011 from pancreatic cancer. He was only 56 years old.
This is a man who really stood for American exceptionalism, was a man who created the Mac, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, all of that.
Nearly 8 years after his death, a photo began spreading around the internet that had everyone convinced of his continued survival. The photo shows a balding, gray-haired man sitting in a plastic chair outside, and the man admittedly bears a striking resemblance to the late Jobs. The sneaky photo was reportedly taken in Egypt, leading many to believe, whether seriously or not, that Jobs is alive and well. Unfortunately, this is simply a case of one man looking a lot like another.
You can do multi-finger gestures on it, and boy, have we patented it.
Number 14, Michael Jackson. The world lost music's biggest icon on June 25, 2009, when the king of pop died of cardiac arrest in his LA mansion.
Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died.
His personal physician, Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter, as he had incorrectly administered various drugs to help Jackson sleep. Murray spent 2 years in prison, but many people, including Jackson's own daughter, believe that there is more to the story. Paris Jackson claims that her father's death was, quote, a setup orchestrated by people, quote, out to get him.
And at some point he was like, they're gonna kill me one day.
However, she's declined to explain who the people are. Jackson's old advisor, Leonard Rowe, told Radar Online that Jackson was assassinated for his music catalog, worth approximately $1 billion. Number 13, Paul McCartney. Sir Paul McCartney is one of the 2 surviving members of the Beatles, but according to one prominent urban legend that sprung up in the 1960s, McCartney actually died long before his late bandmates.
So this started some rumor that because he was barefooted, he's dead.
Proponents claimed that McCartney perished in a car crash shortly after the album release of Revolver. Not wanting to upset the public, McCartney was quickly replaced with a lookalike. Fans scouring the Beatles' work have also found so-called subliminal messages in their songs and album covers.
The myth suggests the Beatles planted clues to Paul's death in their songs and album art to break the news gently.
The Beatles' press office was quite vocal in its defense, calling the legend, quote, a load of old rubbish, and referring to its believers as, quote, nuts. The rumor was put to bed after a very much alive McCartney was featured in Life magazine in November 1969.
It was a little bit strange because people did start looking at me like, yeah.
Number 12, Bob Marley.
Singer Bob Marley, his reggae music known far beyond its roots in Jamaica, died in a Miami hospital today.
The death of this reggae legend was hard to accept. In July 1977, Marley was diagnosed with an aggressive skin cancer under his toenail, which within 3 years spread to the rest of his body, leading to his death at just 36. Fans could not accept the explanation, and the conspiracy led to where they seemingly always lead, the CIA.
The prevailing view remains that Marley favors Manly, making the singer public enemy number 1 to the conservative right, which includes the USA and the CIA.
The story goes that a CIA agent named Bill Oxley infected Marley with cancer through a pair of Converse sneakers. He reportedly did so because the CIA didn't want Marley starting a revolution. Despite the story not making a ton of sense, it nevertheless received traction, and in 2018 was shared by the likes of T.I. and Busta Rhymes.
The CIA is never implicated in the assassination attempt, nor connected with any plot to cause the cancer that kills him.
Number 11, Andy Kaufman.
Almost 30 years after his death, a brand new Andy is alive rumor is raging through the internet.
In life, this quirky comedian often enjoyed pulling fast ones on, well, everybody. So when Andy Kaufman permanently disappeared in 1984, supposedly due to lung cancer, the world refused to believe the official account of his death. Andy's last girlfriend and his own brother seemed to have conflicting stories. But whatever you believe about Kaufman's death, no one can deny that a decades-long hoax would have been so Andy.
We're going to pause here for station identification and get the hoses out here.
He allegedly even said that if he were to fake his death, he would return 20 years later, which would have been in 2004. Who knows? Maybe he's just enjoying some R&R in Albuquerque.
There are also fans who say if he's living in Albuquerque, he should be left alone.
Number 10, John Benet Ramsey. What happened to this American child beauty queen shocked the nation in 1996 and continues to fuel debate and conspiracy.
Of all of the evidence left behind, that ransom note is the most baffling.
The case remains unsolved, which certainly does not help. And while some conspiracies are more grounded and based in reality, others are a little more out there, and let's face it, a little disrespectful. One theory claims that Ramsey didn't actually die and grew up to become Katy Perry.
An unseen man named Dave Johnson makes a string of claims linking the pop star with John Benet.
This theory was given further prominence in 2017 when Billy Eichner confronted Perry about it at the VMAs for a Billy on the Street segment. It's a bizarre theory, and a quick Google search shows that the timelines don't even add up, as Perry was twice Ramsey's age at the time of her death.
Blink twice if you're really John Benet Ramsey.
Wait, no, that is not real.
Number 9, Jimmy Hoffa.
But if it came a question of power as against money, certainly I would select power.
While the average person may not know what this man actually did for a living, many have thought his body was buried under Giants Stadium. As the leader of the Teamsters Union, Jimmy Hoffa was known to anger a few people, and according to legend, the mob took care of the problem. Who exactly? Well, it's become quite popular to claim responsibility for the hit.
Following a tip from a dying man, police are looking at this property in Roseville, Michigan, at the driveway to be specific, under which may lie the solution to a 37-year-old national mystery.
It's an awfully trendy deathbed confession among mobsters. And if you believe notorious hitman Richard Kuklinski, he's the man responsible for Hoffa's earthly departure. Can we just all agree that Jimmy Hoffa could only have been killed once?
All trace of Hoffa's gone. His jewelry is dust.
Number 8, Jim Morrison.
Touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid?
If you were around in the late 60s and had the opportunity to hang with the lead singer of The Doors, he probably seemed more like a regular dude than somewhat of a mythical unicorn figure.
If you're popular, go with it. And if you go out of favor, just keep doing it.
But a shady death always leads to conspiracy theories, especially when the person in question supposedly died in a Parisian bathtub. Although the cause of death was stated as heart failure, no autopsy was ever performed, causing some to think that Jim faked his own death and others to claim that he overdosed in the bathroom of a nightclub. Well, the 70s were definitely a bit hazy for some, and conspiracy theorists continue to search for clarity.
He's dead. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Number 7, George Reeves.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman.
Here's what we know for sure. TV's Superman died from a gunshot to the head in June 1959, which ended his reign as the Man of Steel. But from there, things get extremely blurry, in part thanks to the extreme inebriation of the guests at his house that night. While they claimed to have heard one gunshot, 3 bullets had been fired from the gun. Police believed he took his own life, but some have theorized that MGM Vice President Eddie Mannix or his wife Toni Mannix were involved, since Reeves and Toni had had an affair.
Remember, George Reeves had pretty much an open house. There were a lot of people in there all the time, and friends of friends.
Others suggest that Reeves' fiancée, Leonore Lemon, shot him accidentally. In the end, of course, it is all speculation.
That's the $64,000 question. Who knows who pressured who to do what to cover this up?
Number 6, Princess Diana.
A French minister is being quoted this by the Reuters news agency now, that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died in this accident.
Months before the Princess of Wales was killed in a 1997 car crash along with boyfriend Dodi Fayed, she allegedly wrote a telling letter, worried that someone might tamper with her brakes. Well, we all know what happened, as Princess Diana's death inadvertently ushered in the age of internet speculation. One theory, according to claims by Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, is that the MI6 and CIA were involved, with the potential motive for murder being that Diana may have been pregnant with Dodi's child, and that the two were going to get engaged.
She was saying to the world, yes, I found someone, I'm very happy with them. But that's a completely different stage from we're going to get engaged, we're going to be married.
The paparazzi photographer who was following Diana before her death, James Andanson, took his own life shortly after conspiracy theories arose, just one of many oddities about a seemingly straightforward matter.
The only problem with Mohammed Fayed's theory of the royal family and MI6 being behind the murder of Princess Diana is that it doesn't have a shred of credible evidence to support it.
Number 5, Kurt Cobain.
I'm so happy, 'cause today I found my friends in my head.
As the lead singer of Nirvana and husband to Courtney Love, Kurt Cobain earned plenty of headlines in the early 90s, and deservedly so. But it was Cobain's 1994 death that sparked a larger discussion about his personal life.
It was a totally empty room, no furniture, just Kurt's body lying on the floor. There was a shotgun lying on his chest.
At the time, his decision to take his own life wasn't a complete shock, at least considering the media portrayal of Cobain. But as new details emerge, theories continue to arise in search of the truth.
But the world just took Courtney's word for it.
For example, take the 2015 documentary Soaked in Bleach, which focused primarily on the details of his death. Did someone assist in Cobain's death? And was it possible for Kurt to even pull the trigger given his physical state at the time? We may never know.
I cannot think of a case in which I have had someone inject himself with a large amount of heroin and then proceed to kill himself. It just doesn't make sense.
Number 4, Natalie Wood.
People sometimes go very big, but that's abnormal.
From child stardom to massive success as an adult, this late icon never failed to impress. But with fame comes insecurities, and Natalie Wood had a lifelong fear of drowning, which makes her 1981 death even more suspicious.
Natalie hated the water, hated it, had a great fear of it, didn't go into her own swimming pool at home.
After a night out with husband Robert Wagner and actor Christopher Walken, the actress inexplicably wound up in the waters off Santa Catalina Island, dead at the age of 43. With reportedly plenty of drinking and arguing going on that night, one could be led to believe that Natalie fell off the boat, but many think her husband may have forcibly removed her from the situation.
The tension was building throughout the whole weekend of Robert Wagner being jealous of Christopher Walken.
The captain seems to know what happened, but it's likely only Wagner and Walken know the truth. Well, allegedly, that is.
It's very difficult for all of us. And, every day is a little better. Sometimes you go forward and sometimes you slip back.
Number 3, Elvis Presley.
We can't go on together with suspicious minds.
In August 1977, the king of rock and roll was found dead in his bathroom. Today, he continues to live on through his music, although some take this more literally. In fact, some theorize that he faked his death and that he's actually still alive, as over the years, there have been countless claimed Elvis sightings.
Is Elvis Presley alive?
Absolutely, I would testify it in a court of law.
A few people even claim he was an alien and just went home. We may never actually know what went down at Graceland, but Elvis did have a few health issues, most notably an enlarged heart. And as you can imagine, prescription drug abuse likely didn't help the old ticker. Even so, the king lives on through conspiracy theories, and all those special people who understand what's really going on.
Elvis, I want to thank you very much for being with us. We noticed that you've settled in Bismarck, North Dakota. Could you tell us, Elvis, what's the biggest difference between Bismarck and Memphis?
Probably the biggest difference, man. Yeah, I never died in Bismarck.
Number 2, Marilyn Monroe.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Just a few months after her famous birthday salute to JFK, an American icon consumed a lethal amount of barbiturates and called it quits. At least, that's one possibility. On the surface, it seems that Marilyn Monroe was severely depressed and took her own life.
She was a victim of a homicide, that she was murdered.
However, some think her overdose was accidental, while others believe she may have actually been murdered that evening in Brentwood due to the fact that she ran with an interesting crowd of politicians, mobsters, and some real powerful individuals.
She was very nervous about her phone being bugged and asked me if I knew anyone that could look at it.
Was it Norma Jean herself or someone with a motive and opportunity? Although no evidence of foul play was found in the investigation, the theories surrounding her death continue.
What is the business of the CIA, which was involved, or the FBI, which was involved?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, John F. Kennedy.
Through the years, they never changed their story. Now all of a sudden they're doing it because it's for the public record? I can't buy that.
Well, here's what we do know. Marilyn Monroe did not kill JFK. And maybe, just maybe, neither did Lee Harvey Oswald.
He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot.
In 1963, the extremely public death of John F. Kennedy altered the course of history and subsequently inspired decades upon decades of conspiracy theories.
And then all of a sudden, the day turns to chaos. You know, it's unbelievable.
But someone pulled the trigger on not only the gun, but also on a massive cover-up. Given all the documentaries and books written about the ordeal, one could go mad just thinking about all the possibilities.
How many shots did you say you heard?
4 to 6.
That's impossible. You heard echoes. Echoes.
Was it the CIA, the Soviets, the New Orleans contingent? The list of possibilities is endless. But when you look at the facts, is it really possible that Lee Harvey Oswald, a lone gunman, executed the perfect crime? Or were there larger forces at work?
There was no conspiracy at all. The conspiracy was in the mind of Lee Oswald.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.